Welcome back to Conversation with Buddy. I'm your host, Buddy Puckett. Well, today is actually 4th of July, or the day before the 4th of July, but it's a vacation day. So anyway, we're celebrating the 4th of July. This won't come out till next week, but I got my little American flag here, so that's cool. I want to just do a little shout out to Valor Mentoring. I've been a part of Valor for 10 or 15 years, something like that. We have two locations right now. One's called The Rec Bowling. It's in Kaiser. The second location is The Rec Grange. It's a coffee shop that's a couple blocks away from McNary High School. And then on July 22nd, we're going to do an open house for the third and probably not final, but the third location. It'll be our flagship. It's called The Rec Commons. It'll be over by McKay High School. Interesting fact about McKay is that 68% of crime happens within a 3-mile radius of McKay High School. So love to have you come out July 22nd. I'll have the information in the show notes of this podcast. And okay, so without further ado, I've got a good friend here this morning. We had coffee recently, getting to know each other better. He's got a great story. Can't wait to share it. Welcome, Michael Clark. How you doing, Michael?
Hey, buddy. Thank you. I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Dude, it's great, man. I love this. So, well, we had coffee recently. I took some notes then because it was pretty impactful for me. I like your transparency. Most guys aren't transparent. Why is that?
I don't. Well, I think just being a guy, there's certain things there's certain challenges and expectations. I know myself. I struggle with them like probably most men. I think a lot of my vulnerability when I'm able to do it, again, I think I struggle with it like many, but it would all go back to my dad.
Okay.
My dad, I've been thinking about this sitting down with you for a while, and I've, of course, thinking about our coffee that we had together. And a lot of times when I get around other guys, I'm not the guy that's good about talking sports. I don't follow sports. I don't think I make good first impressions with people. I don't have that initial kind of thing isn't there. But what I find is I get talking deep with other people and other men pretty quickly. And I think that all stems back and goes back to my dad. My dad really was a very loving man, told me he loved me every day, told me, he told me it's okay for men to cry. Just really, basically showed me that strength is the ability to be who you are and to be able to be vulnerable. So I got that from my dad. So I think when I get around other men, I'm able to talk about real stuff. Again, I think I putter out real fast when we're talking about the weather or sports. I can't really get into it. But if we want to talk real, I think that I'm just either hardwired or again, just the modeling from my dad. I think I'm able to do that.
Dude, I love that. To me, you come across confident. I mean, I've known you for a while. I don't know you well, but I mean, I enjoyed the coffee that we had. To me, the first impression is you got your stuff together, man. You're really dialed in from my perspective. So it's funny how you think, I don't show up that well on the first, but I'm pretty deep. I don't know if I would agree with that. I think you have, and I think a lot of us do that though. We kind of beat ourselves up like, I actually think that about myself, like, do I really even matter? Mm-hmm. Do I bring value? And yes, I know I do. But then there's like part of me like, I don't really think I do because I'm not cool like Michael. So I kind of get what you're saying. Yeah. But, well, I loved how you're talking about your dad. You know, a lot of people don't have a story like you, that you love your dad, you had a close relationship with your dad. Valor Mentoring was designed because a lot of kids, young boys and girls, they have a fatherless home. Mm-hmm. So you didn't have a fatherless home, did you?
No.
We're going to dive into that. I want to really go deep, but let's go back to the very beginning. I want to know where you're born at.
Yeah.
I want to learn what your mom and dad mean to you.
Yeah.
How many siblings you have. So just start at the very beginning. Give us that.
Yeah. I grew up here, Salem area. So I grew up, actually, I went to McKay High School.
You did go to McKay High. And were you that guy, man?
I grew up around here. Two parents, my mom and my dad. My mom, again, when I hear people like talking about their childhood stories, I just realize like I'm just a very blessed person. But mom and dad, they've been married. I should know. They just had their anniversary this month. What the actual number is, but they're in the 80s. They've been married for for a very long time. And the best thing about my parents is like to this day, they still are affectionate, and they're there for each other. They show up all the time. They were just the best model of a great, of a great family. I have a sister who's 10 years older. I was just talking to her this morning, actually, before this. We talk all the time. By all accounts, we really shouldn't be close, but we text every day. We talk multiple times a week. She really took an interest. She had a million things going on. Again, 10 years older than me.
Yeah.
There's really no reason we should be close, but she really made that effort. And so we are just, we've been best friends, since day one. Besides my parents, she was my first advocate. She was my first person that would show up for me, when I needed it.
What's your sister's name?
My sister's Angie.
Angie.
Yeah.
Angela. So you only have one sibling?
One sibling, 10 years older.
10 years older.
Yep.
Okay.
And we're super close.
That's so awesome. And does she live here in Salem?
She does live here in Salem.
Okay.
Yeah. And she's been my folks, of course, but she's been, an absolutely influential person in my life that really, at the hardest moments of my life and when I struggled the most, she was there to help kind of get me on a better path.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. So you went to McKay High School. That's interesting. Talked about those early years. You talked about your mom and dad a little bit.
Yeah.
How'd your mom and dad impact you? Did they get you in sports? What were they like?
My folks, I think what's interesting is they really, in our house, that we always encourage each other. So our family really showed up for each other and push each other and encourage each other. But the unique thing in our house, I'd say, my father would say he was an atheist, my mom Christian, and looking back on that was a really interesting and helpful thing. In our house, you had a lot of freedom to think what you think, but then you had to communicate about it. You had to say what your viewpoint was, or why did you think something. I'd say either communication and or negotiation were probably the biggest foundations of our family. Like as far as when we got together, we always, we talked a lot. And even now, like my wife will joke, she's like, man, your family, you guys can talk. And it's like, yeah, we can. That's what we did. We communicated a lot. And so, that was just, it was the foundation of our family. And it was also, great because my dad at a young age taught my sister and I both like, okay, you want to order some food, go, you go to the counter and make your own, order your food. Or if you want to return something, you're going to return it.
I love it.
Or, he taught us I'd say business skills, communication skills, negotiation skills from a really young age. And, which, when you're going through it, you don't like it, you hate it.
Scary.
Everything in the moment, a lot of things in the moment that they probably did, I probably didn't like. And then years later, it's like, oh, what a gift that was. Yeah. So my story, I think, is really just a matter of I hear other men that had these struggles and they had to kind of do the opposite of what their dad did for their kids. And we know some amazing men here in town that I look up to, and I'm just amazed by what they do and how they show up for their families and their community. But again, a lot of it they did by doing the opposite. Yeah. That's not my story. My story is I've had the most amazing people in my life, and I remember even telling my kids when I would do something that they didn't like, or I was doing a lesson or telling something, and this isn't fair, I don't like this, and I'd say, well, go talk to Grandpa, because this is what he did, and it worked for me, and I'm hoping it's going to work for you, but I'm just copying what Grandpa did because I think the way he did it was great. And so my story is just I've had these amazing leaders and mentors in my life, and I feel like I just my goal is to turn around and how do I, I almost feel like there's just so much in me. It's like, how do I then start sharing it out with others? Yeah. And that's again, it's a lucky place to be, but that's definitely kind of how I feel.
Yeah. All right. Your dad's an atheist. Your mom's a Christian. How do you and your sister navigate?
Yeah.
What do we believe? What's going on there? What's that look like?
Yeah. Well, that was the interesting part is then there was so much freedom in our house to try different things. The other thing I kind of joke about when I try explaining what my family was like growing up, you've seen those PSA posters of a holiday gathering and everyone looks different and, across the board. Yeah. That was my life growing up. My parents always would just bring people into our world, and the family that we had around us, they may or may not have actually been blood family, but my folks just bring people in, and so I just think that had a huge impact as far as just surrounding with this different types of people.
Yeah, no, I like that. All right, so you grew up. So you mentioned early on that talking sports and weather really isn't that exciting, but the deep things of life. Speaking of, did you do sports growing up though?
I did track. I liked playing basketball. When I got into the high school, I really got into skateboarding and snowboarding.
Okay.
Snowboarding ended up being like a total passion of mine. And my folks were really, really supportive of that. And they helped make sure I got up to the mountain a lot. Kind of in my late teens and early 20s, I was able to do some competition snowboarding, and that was really cool, like local competitions. Looking back, it's kind of one of the few regrets that I have in life that I didn't stick with it, that I didn't just keep going, okay, how far can I take this? But looking back, the reason I didn't do it, I think a lot of people can relate with this, is I felt like, well, I gotta get going. I gotta start my career. I gotta start getting ready to get a house and all these things. Yeah. You feel like you're behind when you haven't even started. And of course you look back now and it's like, there is no finish. The finish line is, we're gone, we're done, we're dead. And so, or that's the next phase, whatever your belief is. Yeah. But what we do here, that's what matters. And it's just so interesting looking back and going, why? That's so silly. Like, why didn't I do that for a couple of years? What would have been the worst thing? I would have had some experiences and maybe traveled the world. Yeah. But it's funny how you look back in retrospect. And a lot of my story is about just having a weird relationship with time.
That is interesting. Yeah. Feeling like we're behind. So then you rush through the moment, like, hurry, let's get through this moment so I can get onto the thing.
Yep.
But the only thing that matters is right now, man. This is all we got.
Exactly.
So what did you say, your issue with time? Is that what you called it?
Yeah, I guess, because again, thinking back to then, I was like, so why'd I do that? It's like, well, I felt like I had to get to the next thing. I didn't, that could be a frivolous thing, but it was a passion of mine. I loved it. Even to this day, it's one of my very favorite things to do is to go to the mountain. I don't do it as often, but when I'm up there, I just get this feeling, this connection with the universe that I don't think I get anywhere else. And it's amazing. And I love it. But to be like, oh no, that's just frivolous. I got to put that aside and I got to get to work.
I get to work, man.
And I'm a hardworking person. And that was another value of our family was, you show up, you work hard. That was a value in our house for our kids. And I'm proud of that. But also too, even when I think about my boys, and you've heard me talk about them, I get very, I'm very proud of them.
Yeah.
And I generally start off with this, how hard of workers they are and how they show up for other people. And that's all great. But then my favorite thing to do is talk about, but they love having fun.
Yeah.
They love to have fun. My older son, he dances the Oktoberfest every year.
Yeah.
And just, and is a leader there. It's amazing. My younger son, he's always doing something cool with cars, or he just bought a motorcycle, which terrifies me, but he's living his life. He's doing all the experiences. And so I start with, they're just great men. They're hardworking, but they know how to have fun and let loose and realize that this life is precious and it's short and so it's just, Well,
I think to your point, a lot of time we're trying to, whether it's a goal, we got to get to the destination and we kind of forget the journey, but life is a journey. The only destination I know is we all die. So why don't we enjoy the journey and stop focusing on the destination?
Yep.
You're not behind, you're right on time.
Yeah.
But we judge ourselves oftentimes and we're far behind, we're critical on ourselves, we're hard on ourselves. How miserable is that?
Yep.
So how'd you conquer that? I mean, what's the part that changed your life to fix that?
What fixed my relationship with time? Of course, ironically, time. Just getting older and recognizing, looking back, I'd say, and again, another thing that people say to me is like, oh yeah, Michael, you're very goal driven. You're very motivated. And they'll be like, oh, it's, so cool that you get up and work out early in the morning. I want to do that. I wish I could do that. And of course I think back about it. I'm like, well, yeah, I do that now. And I know you do as well. Yeah. And I love it. It's a routine that I love, but I thought about working out in the morning for 10 years.
Yeah.
10 years, I'm like, oh, I want to do this. This would be really cool. But of course, people never see that, right? They just see that you do currently show up in this capacity and they think, oh, it must just be easy for you. It's like, no, I had demons for 10 years that I had to struggle. And that's just like one little silly thing,
right.
But like everything is that way. I mean, some of the best things that I've done or that I've accomplished, they took years, but before even starting, there was years.
Right.
And so I think what I've come to learn is, all the things that are put into my heart, through one way or another, so far the track record's pretty good. They come
Yeah.
to pass. It's just not going to be on my time schedule. That was it. I think I had a lot of pain, as probably many do in my younger years, trying to control everything, thinking that I was the master of the universe, and realizing that just brings pain and suffering. And then you're always wondering about the time, and you spend so much time thinking about the time, you're missing out on the fact that you could actually be doing something to advance you on it. But instead, you're fixated on trying to control how it's going to happen.
Right. Dude, that's deep. Yeah. There's a guy I've seen, he says something like this. He goes, the time that you're taking to avoid doing the thing takes longer than actually doing the thing. So stop, right?
Totally does, yes.
So we got to stop self-sabotaging ourselves and just go do the thing. Who mentors you? Who's in your life that helps you move that needle? Because I think you and I left alone. I'm a train wreck, dude. Like, I need to be around guys like you that you're driven, you're motivated. I can see you work out. I think I saw you with your wife or something where I encouraged you, and I thought it would encourage me.
Yeah.
So,
this is something that I find so interesting when I see people struggling and not asking for help. That's just something that I cannot relate with at all. Again, as someone that you said at the beginning of the show, have my stuff together. What's the number one reason? It's because I ask for help. I have people around me, and I've been so lucky to have amazing mentors. Again, it started out with my family and my sister, but after that, I mean, when I got into my career, I had a boss that was just an amazing mentor and coach. At one point, I wanted to switch careers, and I asked people, who should I talk to? And everyone said, oh, you got to go talk to this guy named Joe. I went and sat with Joe. He became a mentor. Then later in life, I started a business. I started a business with Mike Peterson, who I know you know. He became an amazing mentor. To this day, we're best friends. Yeah. I mean, the list of mentors is just it's so long. And also too, and people again, they ask me like, oh, well, how'd you figure that out? And it's like, oh, well, Larry told me, or Mike told me, or Julianne told me, or any of these people that have been, Joe, all these people that have been influences in my life. It's like other people, like it's all, that's where the answers are.
I think you're right. And why are we so stubborn about getting coached and mentored to shorten the learning curve?
Yeah.
Instead of beating our head against the wall and trying to fix it, hey, Michael, how do I get up early and go work out? How did you conquer that? Well, I talked to Joe and Larry, and I just finally got over it and stopped accepting my own excuses and just did the thing.
Yeah, again, I wish I had a better answer for that, to help other people. And I've had friends that have struggled with something that I know either that I could help them with, or that they have other people around that they can help them with, and they don't ask for help. And I always look at that, and my head kind of turns aside. I'm like, I don't understand. I can't really relate with that. Because for me, it's always been, and maybe because maybe my family dynamic, maybe because my sister was 10 years older, so I felt like I could always go to her. Yeah. But whatever it's been, it's always been reaching out. And so,
sounds like your dad was a good mentor in the fact that he was vulnerable. Boys can't cry, or if you cry, you're a sissy. Mm-hmm. Well, really, we're human beings. We have emotions. So your dad allowed you to be real and not just be, son, you want me to give you something to cry about? We've heard that one before. Yeah. No?
When I was younger, I remember having, in my teens, when you go through the angst and whatnot, I remember having things that I was like, they should do this. I wish they did that, or they don't know what they're doing. I did have that season of life where I remember that, but looking back on my childhood and now thinking about it, my biggest complaint now would be about my parents is they didn't do enough of those things. I can look back and go, I have it way better figured out than they do. Yeah. They don't. Like, I'd say my dad, actually I was just sharing this with my sister recently, but I was using her to check, is this accurate? Because I was like, I can't think of a single time that my dad ever shamed me for anything. Yeah. It didn't matter. I remember I had teddy bears on my bed until I was an old age, longer than most kids would. Yeah. I had a blanket at a way longer than most kids would. Sure. And most dads would be like, what are you doing walking around with that blanket? Or why do you have those teddy bears on your bed? Right. He wasn't. He's like, you keep those for as long as you need until you're ready to be done with them. That's how long you should have it.
Yeah.
He never shamed me. And an entire man's life for a father to never do that, I don't think I can say the same. I know that I can't say the same. And so looking back, it's like, wow, my dad, you know, on my best day, he still did better. And it's a blessing. And it's almost like, wow, like it humbles you a little bit.
Yeah.
And my mom, she's never said a negative thing about another human being in my entire life. I don't know of anyone else that I can say that about.
Yeah, wow.
It's wild.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah, what a blessing. All right, after high school, what does Michael do? What would you go to college? What's that look like?
yeah, so I went right to school. You know, I do share about this. I remember thinking about what was I bad at? So in school, I was good at not going a lot and getting decent grades. Now, of course, in hindsight, why is that? Well, you know, communications and negotiation was what we did in my family. And so I was able to communicate my way through a lot of things and kind of get around things. And at a younger age was realize like, oh, there's a lot of times you can work less and still get to the same outcome.
Yeah.
Which for a long time I thought, hey, that's cool. That's a really cool trait. Didn't take me till I got older till I realized that the hardest work, the most effort, that's where the most, you know, benefit personally comes from.
Yeah.
It's not from doing it quickly or fast or a workaround. But yeah, so that was my thing in school as far as like, you know, just kind of getting through it. But I realized afterwards, what am I not good at? And I thought to myself, like, math. I'm horrible at math. And so when I was deciding to go to school, I said, well, I'm going to do some sort of degree that has, you know, a real foundation in math because I'm bad at it. So I got to get good at that thing. And so I ended up going in for electrical engineering.
Wow.
I went through I got through all the math classes. To this day, I can barely do arithmetic. I don't know how I got through it. I mean, again, mentors, coaches, you know, friends, all the things, failing classes multiple times. But I got through it all. And then my sisters, you know, a source of wisdom said, hey, you've gotten through all the hard stuff. You want to be an engineer? And I'm like, what? I think. I mean, I don't know. I'm bad at math, and I got through all these math classes. She goes, why don't you go job shadow, being an electrical engineer? So I did. I ran out of the building going, what am I doing? This is not where I belong. So I went and talked to my counselor.
That was really good wisdom, by the way.
Yeah.
Thank you, sister.
Luckily, a couple years in, but still, you know, of course, I didn't come up with that. And then I go back to talk to my college counselor. I said, well, I want to switch degrees. And she goes, well, you got two options based on all the coursework you've taken. You can be a math major, guy that hates math.
No.
Or you can do computer science because it's very math based.
Okay.
So I switched to computer science and got that degree, got a job in the tech industry after college. But of course, the part of that story that's interesting is like, I spent years focusing on what I was bad at, math. And it sounds so silly to say this in retrospect, but I know that people do this often. We fixate on the thing that we're so not good at. And we try to fix it. And you can. I mean, you can make improvements, and you should make improvements in some of those areas that you need to kind of round out a little bit or soften. But, you know, obviously my skills were in communications, in relationship building, in sales, other things. And so then, of course, later, even though I was doing good in the tech industry, that wasn't where I belonged. I belonged in communications. And so I switched to communications and, you know, started a marketing company and I found my people, I found my purpose, my place. But again, the lesson for me looking back is like, don't just fixate on the things you're not good at and try to fix those. Figure out what your gifts are and double down on those. You'll get so much further in life and you'll help so many more people if you recognize your strengths and your gifts that you have that you could give to others.
Dude, I like that. I'm just jotting that down. Figure out what your gifts are and double down. I think it's great advice because if I'm not an engineer, it's not my mind. I'm not a computer science guy. But if I give up all of the gifting that I think God's given me and I try to go be something I'm really not, how well am I going to do? Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I agree with you 100%. You should round off some of your weaknesses. That's fine. But we're going to give that about 10%. We're going to give 90% to the things that you're really gifted at and go focus in on that, go double down. So I like it, man. All right. So after college, and where did you go to college at?
So I went to Western Oregon for my undergrad. And then Merrillhurst for a business degree, master's in business, but they're not around anymore. As soon as they closed their doors, I'm like, oh, great. Does that mean my student loans go away?
No.
They didn't.
Oh, weird. Weird. All right. So how old are you now? 22, 23?
I am 46.
Not now. I'm not now, but when you were
back then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back then, what would I, 24.
24,
It took me a little bit to get through my degree. It was hard. I took all those math classes I wasn't good at.
Those don't count, so yeah.
Yep. Took me a while.
Yeah. I was on the 5-year plan. I graduated from Western, but whatever.
Yeah.
Got through.
Yeah. That's all. It's again, that's at the time you're concerned about it. You look back and it's like,
Who cares?
time. Again, that was the relationship with time. That's been the recurring theme.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even that, like looking back at that time, I was an entrepreneur. I had some businesses that I was running. I was selling items, selling clothing online and doing pretty good. And even I thought to myself, like, okay, well, now that I'm through college, I got to like go start a career. Okay. And so I stopped that, even though that was, I was making good money and had a pretty good life. But and again, because I was like, I got to go do the next thing. I got to do the things that everyone does. And so again, you look back and you're like, wow, that's in hindsight, that's so silly.
So silly. Why did we give up what we wanted to do, what we're gifted at, to go look like everyone else?
Yep. And it led me down a path that has been absolutely where I should be. And so again, it's in hindsight, everything works out, and you end up finding where you need to be.
Yeah.
But at the time, it's just like, again, I was always like, oh, I got to do this next thing, and I got to do it quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you, man. Okay, so after college, you eventually got married. How long after college do you find your wife?
So I was just in my 20s. I was just grinding, just going to work, school, all the things, trying to start a career. And then in my late 20s, I was single, and I remember, thinking to myself, like, I remember having this feeling of like, am I ever going to find that person that has like the intensity and the kind of that sees the world the way that I see it? And I remember actually like having this moment where I'm like, you know what, what I want in life might just be too much. My expectations for life might just be too high. And I might need to start settling in different areas. And that was one of the areas where I was like, maybe I just need to like find a person. You know what I mean? That's good enough, or that's going to be fine, or whatever. And then also too, because, leading out of high school, I thought to myself, I had money saved in the bank, and I was like, okay, I'm going to be buying a house. I'm going to start a family. Like, I was thinking to myself, these things are all going to happen fast and quickly. And in my late 20s, I looked around, and, most of my friends had, bought their first house. They had already gotten married. They had started a family. And here I was. And of course, I'm in my 20s, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, look how behind I am. And of course, now in your 40s, you're like, your 20s? What do you mean?
Stop it.
It's ridiculous. But I remember thinking, I guess I'm just going to have to, who knows, just settle or whatever. And I just got to a point where I think I just let go. And I was like, you know what? I'm just not going to worry about it. I'm not going to worry about finding this perfect person. I'm just going to stop trying to control it. And then, as I know, you probably know what happened next, right? The woman of my dreams literally fell into my lap. And I don't know if it was 6 days after having that thought or 6 months after having that thought. I can't remember the timeline. But she literally fell into my lap. She showed up at my house with a friend of a friend.
Wow.
And we, spent a whole evening together, a big group of us. And, I think back about it, was it love at first sight? Well, no, it wasn't love at first sight. But the next day, I woke up and I called my sister and I said, I met someone that I'm going to chase. And she had never heard me say that before, and I'd never said that before. And I was so excited. I didn't know where it was going to end up. I didn't know, it wasn't like it was a destiny thing where I like it had to happen. I just remember feeling I'm excited for the being present. I'm going to be present right now, and I'm going to chase this person. Lucky for me, I caught her pretty fast.
Yeah.
And it's been an amazing ride. And just the most strong woman I've ever met. Actually, the comment that you made to me years ago was one of the best gifts that I've actually received, but that you gave me. You saw me in a parking lot, and you said, "Hey, Michael, I got to talk to you." And you said, "The way that you show up and the way that you talk about your wife is awesome." And you said more than that, and you kind of went into detail. And that was such a gift that you gave me, because you know what? I put a lot of energy into that, and I really try to show up. And I just, again, most of it all comes back to just feeling so grateful. I'm so grateful that she's in my life. And talk about a mentor, a coach, you know, a partner. I mean, she's, you know, she's everything. You know, you finding that right person, it's the biggest leverage point anyone can have in their life. And, you know, and navigating it. The day that I think I have things figured out, the next day changes. And I realize that I got a lot more learning to do, and I can have a lot more areas I can show up and be better. But yeah, and I would say, like, looking back, that was also where fun came into my life.
Okay.
You know, my 20s was really about, again, trying to do all the things, getting caught up, you know, going to school, getting to work, starting the career. You know, she taught me how to be present way more. She's the most present person I've ever met. Like, she is in the moment. And so she really, more than anyone else in my life, taught me how to be present and really how to have fun.
Hey, what's your wife's name?
Mackenzie.
Before you and I started the podcast, we were talking about marriage downstairs because Fausto just got married. And you said, it doesn't get easier, it gets better. And I would agree with that. I mean, marriage is not easy because we have to die to self. If we're going to really love our spouse the way we're supposed to, it's not about me no longer. It's about her. I have a similar story as you did. I met my wife in college, my first year in college, and I knew she was the one, but long story short, my buddy came over to my house and he brought my now wife, but she was just hanging around with him, and they came to my house. And anyway, long story short, a couple of weeks later, a month later, there was a dance, and the last week of college. And long story short, we began dating that weekend. And I called my mom that Sunday. I said, Mom, I found the one I'm going to marry. It's kind of like your story too. It's like, I found someone I'm going to chase. And I think guys, we find someone to chase, but then after we get the girl, we stop chasing. And I think what I see you doing, you're still chasing her. I want to see you still chasing her, right? Like, that's exciting to me because I want to chase my wife too. It's been 34 years. How long have you been married?
Been married for 13 years.
13 years. Keep chasing her, right? She wants to be chased by you, right? Our wives want to be chased, right? Hunt it down. Like, I'm coming after you, baby.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that. So good job, man. I think that's, hey, just because somebody's been married for 50 years does not mean they have it all figured out, right? You just said it. I'm still learning. Like, oh, yeah, I thought I had it figured out. Apparently I don't.
Yep.
It's very humbling to be married. But I like this. Okay. So you guys are married. Kids, talked about your boys.
Yeah. So I have two boys, Tyson and Dylan. I know you have the two girls.
Yeah.
And they're just, again, does it make life easier? No, but being a parent, it makes life better.
It makes life better.
It makes life better. Yeah. So they're just, two young, they're young men now. They're actually on, out of the house and doing their own thing, and just absolutely just so proud of both of them. One's wrapping up at OSU. The other one just recently moved over to Central Oregon.
Yeah.
And just, they're both, they're working, they're just, they're carving their own path. And it's just so fun to watch. And it's such a unique stage. I know my wife and I have talked about this. You expect like, oh, okay, yeah. When they're young adults and they're moving out, things will get easier. And it's like, whoa, the stakes actually get higher, and you're thinking about them even more. And it's just, and then of course we realize like, every season of life teaches you, but it's like, oh yeah, they'll always be our kids. I mean, I've heard that from my parents my whole life. Like, oh, you're always going to be, you're always our kid. And so now I get it. But yeah, they're amazing. I couldn't be more proud of them. And like I said, they're doing all the hard things, but they're doing really fun things too. And so it's really fun to celebrate them and get to see them and hear about, what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's exciting to live. I love to live vicariously through our girls. They're adult girls. They've moved out and, one's married, one would love to be married. But I love to watch them. I love to, the good and the bad, the good choices and bad choices, because we all make them, and they're making good choices.
Yeah.
But I allow them to make bad choices just like I did. I did a lot of dumb things. Like
part of it.
But that's where I learned those painful times of, I was dumb. Probably shouldn't do that. But so you and your wife are empty nesters. Mm-hmm. This is new.
Yes.
How you doing with that?
It's for us, it's been a pretty easy transition. And I guess I would say, back to your comment about, you got to keep dating. You got to keep, again, thinking back about something I'm proud of is, as a family, we've always taken a trip every year, whether it was down to California or, something cooler than that. And then of course the little mini trips here and there, but every year, except for 2020, my wife and I took a trip together, just the two of us. And, of course I remember the kids go, oh, why can't we go? And, and I'd explain to them, I'm like, well, we're going to show up as good parents because we do this. This is what we need to do. And so the transition, I'd say, again, understanding how much we'd still be thinking about and worrying about our boys and that part, that was unexpected. But our part of it has been awesome. I mean, our biggest challenge is, oh, should we do another date night? My wife's like, we just did one last night. I'm like, but let's just go, let's go out again.
Yeah.
So it's been great, but it's also a whole new season. We're trying to figure out what does the next 10 years look like? Ooh. Where do we want to end up at?
Come on.
And actually through the last, couple of years, we've gone through different transitions, things that were harder than I expected.
Yeah. Life happened to you?
Life happened, yeah.
Oh, wow, weird.
And I had to adjust how I showed up in the relationship. So yeah, it's been interesting.
Talk about a hard thing that if you don't mind just being transparent, like what's difficult to you? What something happened? What was it? How did you overcome or resolve it?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that I struggle with, and I think again this is a lot of people, it's just wanting to control the timeline, and also like I know that when people that I really care about, when I do something that they don't like or that causes them to question why I made this decision or what, I really struggle with that. I struggle with just letting people have their own thoughts and whatnot. I know a lot of it probably goes back to to codependency. I've read about codependency. Back in our household, we had this great household, but we had struggles. There were struggles with addiction. There were struggles with depression. Things that I think it's hard to escape in most households, and so I really struggle with when someone that I really care about, when I feel like I'm letting them down, it cuts me in my core, and it almost feels like the world is stopping, like it just can't even move on. And so learning how to like let people just have their own thoughts and their own feelings and know that I can't manage it. As much as I want to try, and as much as I want to try and control it or manipulate the situation,
guilty as charged.
It's just so hard. But trying, and also even just like people around me that I care about, just having a bad day, not feeling good about something, and just being like, that's their experience. That's what they're going through.
Yeah,
they don't need to show up a certain way so that I can be more comfortable.
Yeah,
that's on me. That's my stuff to unpack. I need to just let people be who they need to be. And so, that's an area that I think I've gotten better at, but of course, things that we get better at, we still struggle with.
Dude, we're guys, we love to fix things. I still struggle with it. My wife will tell me something like, well, why didn't you do this and that and the other? And she's like, I wasn't asking for advice. I just wanted to vent. Oh yeah. Like, shut up, buddy. Just listen.
Okay. So you got a couple years on me. When do you feel like when did you learn that whole, now it may be two different areas, like in life and in personal relationships. For me, they were different. I kind of learned it professionally earlier on. In my close relationships, it took me longer. When or what made you realize that when someone's talking, your job isn't to fix it? Like can you think back to when that popped up?
Well, and I'm good in areas and I'm bad in areas. So working with, being a husband, I had really high expectations of my wife and just what our relationship looked like. Having kids, I released them to the Lord early on, like when they were first born, because my wife and I couldn't have kids for about 4 or 5 years. Like it wasn't going to happen. And then all of a sudden I get saved and my wife get pregnant. I'm like, this is me. This is true. I was 28 years old. Like I grew up in church. I'd never read the Bible. I didn't know a Bible verse. I didn't know anything. I'm just like doing my thing. It wasn't good. But God was really gracious with us. He gave us $2 that we couldn't have kids. So I don't know how to say it any other way other than a blessing. But God made it abundantly clear, hey, buddy, these are my kids on loan to you. Mm-hmm. You're going to raise them accordingly to my plan and the way the way the Bible teaches. And I think for me, letting go of going, all right, Lord, these are your kids. So every day, hey, girls, I would teach them Bible verses like Ephesians 6:1 says, children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. It's the first commandment with a promise so that you live long on the earth. I go, girls, hey, guess what? You don't have to obey me if you don't want to. But what do you think God wants you to do? Well, I guess we should, So I just learning to let go of expectation as a parent. My kids don't have to do anything. I'd use reverse psychology on them. Like, you can skip school. You can do. I'm not going to do that. Well, hold on. Your friends will. So show me your friends, and I'll show you how your life will end up. I just want you to know you're free to do whatever, right? But let me share some truth with you, and then you get to decide what you want to do.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I always have expectations. I do, but if I'm not careful, I can be disappointed, and nobody likes to be. Michael, you said you would do this and you didn't do it. I'm disappointed in you. Do that to your wife about 1,000 times. And so God has worked on me so much to just go, let go. I want to have no expectation of why. It's my job to serve her first, before me. I don't do it perfectly, but that's what's on my mind. And I do the dishes. I want to cook for her. I want to provide for her. Honey, you go sit down. I'm taking care of you. And I think she likes that. Yeah. And there's times like she's trying to do the dishes, out of here. And so removing expectations. Okay, I learned it also on the golf course. We golf once a week. And we think we're going to be great at golf, and we hit the ball and it slices right or goes in the water, and then we're upset. And so if we're not managing our expectations right, then our attitude goes down, if that makes sense. So I don't know, just learning how to, if you hit a bad shot in golf or you hit a bad shot in life, it's going to happen. How are you going to recover from that? Well, if I hang on to an expectation of perfection, well, that wasn't a perfect shot. That wasn't a perfect response. I've got to be able to go, you know what? That wasn't really a great decision. Let me pivot and make a change. So, again, it's ongoing, but I think being aware that starting with expectations leads to disappointment for me. I got to remove expectations. I know I just have to worry about me.
Yeah.
My wife still, if she's her own person, she's going to live her own life. I try to control things and like, hey, guess what? That's not going to work. Trust me. You can take my words on that
Every
one.
time.
So I just let go of it. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. I got to show up as my best person, as a loving husband, as a loving father. And that's where I got to stay. So I don't know if that answers your question, but that's kind of my story. It's started at year 20. I never really gotten counseled from an older man on how to be a better husband. I was mentoring guys, but I don't know that I was always showing up. I was trying to help you out, but maybe I wasn't really living out my best life, if you know what I mean. So just a lot of lessons along the way, realizing I'm the culprit here in this whole thing. I got to own this stuff. See, look, it may not always be my fault. So this is every guy. It's not my fault. Okay, I appreciate that. But it's always my responsibility to lead with love and kindness. Kind of like your dad and mom, man. Kindness. The verse in Scripture says, it's the kindness of God that draws us to repentance. If every time I do something wrong, God smacks me and goes, you idiot, I'm never going to come to him. He doesn't do that. He says, come here, buddy. And so as a parent, I need to look like God. I'm not God. I'm imperfect. But that's what my goal is to love the way he loves me. And so does that make sense? Yeah. So that's all I got, man. But you know what? We don't arrive. My golf game never arrives. I don't show up. I shot in 86 yesterday. That's my best round. I didn't shoot an 86 yesterday. It's been a couple of years ago. I might shoot a 98.
Yeah.
Right? I got to start over again. So every morning, it's kind of like that movie Groundhog's Day. Every morning, I get an opportunity to actually do a little bit better. And I don't want to live in a works-based, like I perform this way. I want to lead with love, because that's the only answer. I'm imperfect, right? My wife can tell you right now that I'm really imperfect, but hopefully she sees the love of Jesus being poured out on me and also to her and to us as friends. So
showing up every day.
Yeah. You're doing it. I mean, your dad, even an atheist, in his own way, he's a kind guy. You know, see, I believe, the Bible teaches we were created in his image. You and I, as human beings, I wasn't just a ball of fire that poof, now I've got all these, however God designed us, but we're created in his image. And so we bear the image of God. And so your dad, whether atheist or not, he has the image of God in him, right? So that's just my belief. But, well, talk to me about work. I know that you and Mike Peterson owned, Five Marketing. There's been that portion. Yeah. Where are you at today? Talk to me about that. What's driving you? What's your purpose? What's your passion?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, I was in the tech industry, and what happened is I was called to help build a website, and I had been doing some websites just on the side, and I'd been doing websites for small companies, and just really enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. And so then I was able to do that where I was working at the time. Was able to do a website project, and when I was doing that project, you have to interact with tons of people in the organization, and then that's when I realized, like, oh, communications, that's what I love. I need to be working with people. And so then I found a mentor who helped me make that transition into the communications world. So I've been in communications for over 15 years. Wow. And so, an executive, for most of that time, helping out local schools with their communications is the industry that I'm in for communications. Communications, of course, is a huge umbrella over, public relations and marketing and other things. But years ago I had a small business and I was making websites, and Mike Peterson was as well. And we're old high school friends. And so we got together and we had coffee and just kind of got back in touch. And then after a while we were like, hey, we should do this together. And so we started a company together, and we ran it for over 10 years together and became, a pretty good company here for the for local companies, and kind of made for a name for ourselves. Yeah. And it was awesome. But a couple of years ago we decided that we were kind of going in different directions. Mm-hmm. So Mike's still running it. The best part of the story for me is there's not a lot of people out there that ran a business with a best friend for as long as we did, and we're successful. So there's that. But the better part of the story is that we're still best friends, and we don't work together, and we, split the company, and he bought it. And the fact that we're still best friends, that is to me the part that I get to walk away with. Because most people, if you ask them, should I do a partnership in my business? Like, I don't think you can find a person that's ever done it and be like, oh no, that's definitely the way to go. Like, almost no one's going to say that to you.
I would tell you that too, man.
And so that was just a huge thing. And so we did marketing consulting for many years, and I loved it. It was great. It was great work. I did that simultaneously while also having, my day job. And so, marketing, communications, it's a passion of mine. I love it. I think it's great. I think it can be used to solve some of the biggest problems. I mean, everything, when you boil it down to what was the breakdown, what was the issue? Communications. It's always the same thing. Always. And so to dedicate, my career to that, it feels great. And it did. I mean, I read books about it constantly. I'm thinking about it constantly. It's my hobby. It's my passion. It's everything rolled into one. So it's been really impactful. But yeah, the fact that we did that for so many years and that we're still so close, that was awesome. The other part about it is, like, what I didn't realize is we talked business every week. Of course, we had to when you're running a company. Mm-hmm. But I also had a man in my life that I could talk to about real stuff every week. And afterwards going, we still check in on a regular basis, but it's not as frequent. And I think we both realized, like, wow, that was a really helpful thing. Mm-hmm. We're both married. Yeah. We have kids about the same age. She has 2 girls. I have 2 boys. Our wives, there's a lot of similarities as far as like personality styles, and so we just had so much to talk about all the time and be vulnerable about. And now as I talk to other men in my life that haven't had someone like that or haven't had close men in their life, I realize, like, they talk about things the way that I would have talked about it when I was in my 20s or early 30s. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh, well, they haven't had someone to tell them that the things that they're saying are totally wrong. Or like, it's like you talk about, about it being your fault. Like, when you're a husband and a father, like, everything's your fault. Yeah. Like, it's never anyone else's fault. Right. And it's like, and then I remember one time I told Mike, I go, something's just not fair. And he looked at me, he's like, what? It's not supposed to be fair. Like, don't be silly. Like that's not your job. Your job is to show up and do all the things and do the best you can and do better tomorrow. It's never about you're never gonna, if you're doing it right, it's never fair. Like you're always showing up way more. And so just having that kind of again, so many men in my life that I've been able to have, but having that on a recurring basis was a really helpful thing. Yeah. And then also too, like we invest, like also looking back about our success is, we invested, always in professional development. I mean, the amount of, the money and time that we spent on professional development, going to conferences, hiring coaches. We hired, Tammy Levin, who's a local coach here in town. We hired her, and she's been, an awesome leader and mentor, but just, really taking the time to invest in ourselves and our business. That was something that I also look back on. I was like, wow, I'm really, really glad we did that. Every single investment that we ever made at the time, it seemed scary. It's like, we're going to pay how much money for this course? We're going to pay how much for this coach? Like, but you look back and it's like every single one of them, they all paid off.
Well, there's an ROI on all that every time.
Yeah. Investing in yourself,
Yeah. Okay, so what are you doing today? What's your job today? What are you passionate about?
So luckily, I still get to help out with communications. I get to help with local schools with their communications. We get to be part of, I'm on a team that gets to be part of like local bond campaigns. So, it's really difficult to, people don't understand like how do we build schools? People in that local area around that school district, they have to vote on it. They have to vote to approve to spend more on taxes to pay for schools. Yeah. It doesn't come from the state, doesn't come from the federal government. It's all local, which is also why when you drive different communities, different schools look different. Right. Because a community may or may not have invested more or less in their local schools. Yeah. So anyway, helping out in communications, that's just one example, but anything that supports like local schools, working in communications in that arena. So that's what I get to do every day. I've been doing that for over 10 years. Again, I absolutely love it. It's very fulfilling work.
Are you private sector or do you work for the school district?
I used to work for a school district previously. Yeah. It's still public sector. Okay. So, but it's work at an agency that supports local schools, but it's public.
Sounds like a cool job.
It's very cool. Okay. You get to, show up and do help a little bit to help solve, big problems. Yeah. And it's awesome. And in the place I work, we do, they do everything from, special ed to curriculum, all kinds of things supporting local schools. And so it's a really awesome, job. It's very fulfilling. And then, I sold the company, to Mike about a year and a half ago. Yeah. And decided, I'm just going to take some time off. And this is actually another kind of funny story that I have with my wife is, I had sold the company and took a lot of responsibility off of my plate and had a lot more free time. And her love language is quality time. Quality time. And I've really tried to prioritize that. And so then it was about a couple months into the year after I sold the company and we got into some discussion, some disagreement about something and I remember getting frustrated. I'm like, what's going on? Like I'm happier and I'm less stressed. And she looked at me and she's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, well, I sold the company and I have more time and, kind of laying out my argument for why I'm like my defense of why I'm happier and less stressed. And she's like, that's not accurate. You don't even see yourself. She's like, you're not, no. And what I learned is, and of course I disagreed at first. And then obviously in time I looked back and she was right, as she generally almost always is. And I was like, oh, yeah. I mean, I had this job that I love, that I'm passionate about, but there wasn't other things outside of that I was driving towards. And something I've learned about myself is I'm happier when I'm reaching towards some other goal. When I have, whether it's a personal goal, physical goal, I'm going to try to do my first Ironman here real soon.
Come on. Yeah. Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's this month, isn't it?
That's this month. Yes. I'm excited and nervous about it at the same time. But so last year I decided to double down on fitness and doing something that was outside of myself. And luckily I have a good friend, Aaron, who invited me to do the Ironman.
Is Aaron Qualls in this?
Aaron Qualls, yeah. Me and him have been training together for a year now. And so anyway, so decided to do that. And then I thought back about what I had done over the last 10 years in my business that I liked the most. And of course I loved, helping companies do their marketing campaigns and I loved helping them increase their revenue and their profit. That was great. Yeah. And, but what I thought about that I liked the best was I loved just sitting down with the business owners across, sitting across the table, having some coffee and helping to really understand like what were the reasons why the company wasn't advancing and growing the way they wanted, or why was there chaos in the company? Like what was causing them so that they weren't getting good sleep? You know, those conversations were the best. And when I was able to work with a company and help them kind of have those aha moments, or just literally share something that had been taught to me by one of my mentors or coaches and just give it to them and then have them just implement it and see it transform their business.
Wow.
I realized that over any one little system or one little tweak, it was those big aha moments. That's what really transformed companies and transform leaders. And so then I thought to myself, if I could just do that, if that could be my gig, if I could just be a coach and a consultant, just helping business owners and leaders to really like solve their biggest issues and have those aha moments, that's what I want to do. And so I went and I was nervous about this. And I thought about this for 5 years. I'd kept it myself, again, the whole time thing. And I remember the first person I went and told this to, and this actually was hard for some reason, but I went and told my wife and I said, I think I want to be a coach and a consultant. What do you think? And I was terrified of her answer because I care about what she thinks so much. And she goes, oh, I think you'd be great at that. And then I was, really? You know, tell me more. What do you think I'd be good at? She goes, you know, helping other husbands. And of course, I thought to myself, well, that's ridiculous. Like, if I'm so great, why don't you tell me how great I am? More often, she laughed and she goes, you don't need to hear it. You know you're good. And I go, well, I don't know if anyone really pays for that. And I go, what about doing like businesses, helping business leaders and coaching in that area? She goes, well, of course. Yeah, you'd be great at that too. And I said, okay, so check. And then I went and talked to the next person, that's really influential. I went and talked to my dad. I said, hey, Dad, I'm thinking about getting into coaching. And what do you think about that? Oh, that's where you need to be. That's perfect. And then so at that point, I was like, okay, well, I got to do this thing. And then like the time issue, months passed by. I kind of didn't really do much. Honestly, I've been stalling for a long time. Yeah. Because I think it's because I am so excited about it that, of course, you get that fear of like, well, what if I'm not good enough at it? Yeah. Or what if it doesn't work out? But the day, I don't know about the day, the month that I finally said I'm doing this, and I set it out into the universe, and I'm
doing it. Yeah.
I had two people come to me and say, let's work together. And then another agency came to me and said, hey, we want to help you. We want your help putting together this event where we bring communicators, together from across the country. We want you to be a part of it. And I hadn't done anything. I didn't have a logo. I didn't have a, website, still not built, all the things. And I was like, oh, okay, that's a darn good sign. Just the moment that I spoke to the universe, it started. And so I'm trying to build, that's what I would like to do, is I'm building a coaching business.
I like it. You have a name for it?
Right now it's just my name. So it's just michaelallanclark.com, and people can find me at Michael Allen Clark. I don't have anything else, but that's going to be where I started. I know I sat down with Lucy a little while ago. She was on your podcast. That was a great podcast episode. And we were, I know that she's just gone by her name, and we were talking about, do you do that or do you come up with another name? But for right now, it's just Michael Clark. That's it. Yeah.
Okay. I love it, dude. Well, I think you're passionate about that. I think your passion comes through, and I think you'll be fantastic at it. I think we all go, well, what if I'm no good? That's the wrong question, Make sure we don't ask that question. Mm-hmm. I think you impact guys. I think you care. I think you've been down the road. I remember when you coached my team, probably 7, 8 years ago, you and Mike did.
Yeah.
I mean, my team still talks about that today. I swear to God, there's a few things in there. We talked about Mount Everest and the base camps.
Yep.
We talked about one thing is when you write out an email, for every word you get rid of, it's $100. It's like, stop using too many words. It's communication.
Yeah.
I always teach my team is like, what your biggest problem is? Well, what is it? It's communication. Mm-hmm. It's the inability to have effective conversation. But if you can have effective conversation, have the hard conversation.
Yep.
Ask a great question. Learning to communicate properly, right, is money.
And it's just one of those skills too. Like the second you figure out something, there's 10,000 more things to learn. You never are fully master it. It's always something you're working on. So, which is, again, that's probably part of the allure for me is I'm sure certain things you can, every industry is different, and some are changing constantly and some are changing less, but it's definitely the ever changing nature of it, and you can always get better at it, is definitely something that probably pulls me in. Yeah. But I love talking about it. Thank you for saying that about the years ago. I remember that very, very well. That was a really fun day.
Yeah, no, it was awesome.
Yeah.
I've paid for lots of coaching. I've paid for lots of seminars, traveled, and my wife would go, "Why do you keep going to these things?" Like, well, hopefully I'm getting better. I mean, maybe it's gradual, and maybe I'm only taking.
Yeah.
Well, I learned this here. Don't take 10 things. Take one.
Take one. Oh,
just do one. Just do one
sure.
thing. If you can implement one thing, it'll move the needle. And so that's one of the lessons I've had to learn is I can't do 10, but I can do one.
Going to conferences, that's always my thing. Or even reading a book, all of it. It's like, can I get one takeaway that I implement?
Yeah.
That I do. Because I read a lot. I love reading books. But it's like, okay, what's that one thing that I can pull out of this? You know?
You've heard of Darren Hardy, right? Mm-hmm. So Darren Hardy, some guys go, yeah, man, I'm going to read 3 books a month. That's 36 books a year. He goes, okay, cool.
Yeah.
What if you just read one and implemented it? You know, that's like, I like to read books. I probably read 2 or 3 a month, at least, probably like you. Question is, what am I actually implementing? And so, here's what I'm doing now. I've got a couple books at home. I'll read through, I'll underline it, the things that are important to me, and I'll make notes in the back, like the top 10 things I want to think about. I'll go back and reread it with a yellow highlighter and re-highlight those things so I can learn more, whatever it is, and just make sure I'm focused on the, maybe there's 10, but I'm really going to only focus on accomplishing one thing.
Yeah.
So that's it. And just keep doing that.
It's helpful for focus too.
Right.
We can't do 10 things at once. You can only do one thing.
I tried, man. I tried.
We've all tried.
Hey, we're going to wrap up here in just a sec here, but 4th of July is tomorrow. And so I thought, I'm going to do a little video of you. What's important to you about 4th of July when you think about that?
Oh, that's a question I was not expecting. 4th of July, I mean, I guess, like I said about when I met my wife, just, taking those moments to stop and to celebrate and just be present. 4th of July, I remember I have a lot of memories, good memories from when I was a kid. And hopefully always just making new memories. But again, like you stop, and whether it's looking at fireworks, whether it's just having a drink with someone you care about, it's just another one of those opportunities to just stop and just reflect on, hey, let's celebrate the moment. And the fireworks, of course, are the most visual representation of, like on your phone when you say, hey, congrats, or you say something, it has a little, the confetti, emoji pops up automatically. It's like just taking a moment to just celebrate what we have and where we've come and what we've learned. It's like, you can never do too much of that.
Dude, that's a mic drop right there, bro. So we're going to wrap up, but so July 22nd, 5:30 p.m., the Commons, it's over on Lancaster. I'll put it in the show notes, the exact location. It's 2421 Lancaster Drive. Again, it's about 3 blocks from McKay High School. Michael went to high school there. Cool. And it's going to be our flagship property. We'll invite you out to, it's going to be a brand new coffee shop. It'll probably be one of the largest coffee shops with meeting rooms. You can have events there. So it's going to be pretty cool. But I'll put that in the show notes. So Michael, before we sign off, give us any last thoughts that maybe you didn't share or something you want to reiterate. There's a lot of meat here, by the way, a lot of takeaways. What's left in your tank here that you want to share?
I guess it would just be the time, talking about time and just realizing that, wherever, I'm talking to myself, wherever I'm at and wherever I want to go. And whenever I think to myself, like, oh, it hasn't happened yet, or, hasn't come to pass, just to remind myself, like, that's not my job. My job is to just show up today, do what I can do today, and things happen exactly when they're supposed to, and just letting go of that a little bit. That to me is like, if I can, the more often I can remember that, it brings me calm, brings me peace, and brings me sanity, I guess, probably more than anything. So just like, let time take care of itself. Just show up and do the best you can today. Go from there.
Dude, that's well said. Hey, I appreciate you being here, man. You poured your heart out. I like that people get to know you better, because I'm not a surface level guy either. Yeah, sports, that's fine. But I want to know about Michael. I want to know about your marriage, your kids, and how are you impacting them and where are you traveling next? And so that's you and I, we're going to have more coffees, bro.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, you definitely impact me. look, I might be older than you. I've been married longer than you. That doesn't mean I know more than you. And I don't have your giftings. You have giftings that I don't have, and I have giftings that you don't have. So that's why we keep doing this. So hopefully we can keep doing it.
And again, I just say, you took a few minutes out of your day just to share something that you recognized as something that you recognize as being positive, and you shared that with me, and that was huge. That was impactful. And as much as I can do that for others, of just calling out people's gifts, and when I see someone do something amazing, being like, hey, that was awesome. It takes us just a second, but it can totally transform the way someone feels about their day, about their life. You did that for me. And again, I hope I can replicate and do that for others.
It's cool. I didn't even recognize I was going to be doing something for you. I just noticed something and impact you. If somebody wants to reach out to you and have a coffee with you, and I think you would.
Yeah.
Or
of course,
ask you about coaching, like, hey, can you help me? I think you're the guy.
Yeah.
I know you got a little website. Is that the best way to go to your website? Do you have a phone number? Email?
Whatever is comfortable for people, so they can go to my website, michaelallanclark.com, or they can find me on Instagram, Michael Allen Clark, or LinkedIn, Michael Allen Clark. The same. Any one of those places, I check them all regularly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd love to.
The Allens. I know how to spell Michael. How do you spell Allen?
Allen. So Michael Allen Clark.
Gotcha. Clark.com.
You type in Michael Clark, it's like 2 billion results.
Dude, I know, right?
My parents had really unique names, and they decided that for my sister and I, that was not going to be the case.
Right. Cool. Well, brother, we're going to sign off. Hey, thank you for being here this week. We really appreciate you. I hope you get some good value out of this podcast. I think you should reach out to Michael. I think he has a lot to offer. And if you ever want to be on the podcast, we'd love to have you. If you have not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel or our Apple podcast platform, man, please subscribe, share. We appreciate you. So we'll see you next week. Thank you.